Office 365 reports and service health. Hey everyone, Ben Finkel here, and in this nugget, we're going to take a quick walk through some of the different service monitoring reports and service health dashboards that are available to us as administrators of Office 365 so that we can get a look into what's going on with our tenant in Office 365 and try to troubleshoot problems both when they occur as well as proactively before they happen. I'm excited to talk about service health monitoring and troubleshooting. I think that with any job that I've ever had, I've always spent more time trying to figure out issues and dig up where the problem is than I have actually fixing them or developing new things. And certainly when we talk about Office 365 in the cloud, that's not going to be any different. And in fact, there's some unique challenges when we move to the cloud because we're talking about offloading a lot of these features and functionality to a third party, Microsoft in this case. And it's all running on their servers. It's under their control. So we are, to an extent, really reliant on what they provide us in order to troubleshoot problems in our system. If they're not telling us about a specific problem, if they're not acknowledging the details that underlie a specific problem, we may not be able to troubleshoot it. So it's important that we know what is available to us and how we can find it. Probably the number one place that you're going to spend your troubleshooting days are right here in portal.office.com inside of the admin center. This is going to have a lot of different features and functionality, really reports and service health monitoring that you need to use to keep up to date on what's going on with your Office 365 tenant, your deployment. Just as a great example, you can see right here on the portal homepage or the admin homepage, I've got this directory sync status panel that has shown up. Now, in a different nugget, I set up Active Directory Connect that uploaded my Active Directory users from an on-premise Active Directory into my Office 365 portal. Because I shut down the virtual machine that was running that service, it has not gotten a directory synchronization in more than 3 days, and it's yelling at me about it. It's like, hey, wah, wah, alert, alert. This is a problem. You haven't gotten a synchronization. It's supposed to run every 12 hours, and you haven't had one in 3 days. So right off the bat, we can see that problems are going to get highlighted, and we are going to be notified on this dashboard panel, the home page of the Office 365 portal. We also need to do our own proactive digging and monitoring, though. We can't just wait for Office 365 to try to get our attention. And the number one way that we're going to do that is with the reports down here. If I pull down the reports tab, we've got two different types or categories of reports: security and compliance and usage. I'll just start with usage reports here, and you can see how easy it is to use the portal to get some really neat, interesting, and comprehensive reports out of the system. First of all, up here in the upper left, we have the option to select a report. And these are all the different reports that are available in the system right now. You see, I have to scroll down. There's so many of them. So maybe we want active users from Office 365. Then you can see I can choose my time frame. How wide of a range do I want to look inside of my service? 7 days, 30, 90, or 180. So I can choose how far back I want to look for this particular report. Once it finishes loading, you can see here it shows me the number of daily active users. I apparently have none because I have not been using this service very much. And up here we can choose between users or service for the x-axis. So here it is by service. We can see how many people are using, say, SharePoint versus OneDrive versus Skype for Business. And here it is by users by date, so we can see how many people are using it on each date. Every report is going to have a little export option down here in the lower right, and that's going to allow you to save the details of the report in a .csv file. Let's take a look at group activity. So here I've got some actual lines on my system here. I can see my different groups. I can see how many items are in those groups. And if we scroll over here and click the export button, it's just going to launch a Save As dialog box for us and allow us to save this .csv file, and then we can view it in really whatever tool we want to use locally. So that's a good way to pull these reports out of the system, load them into a report or a third-party analysis tool if you want to do that. Another important note about the reports here, Microsoft has been in the process of transferring from the old interface to the new interface. We have spent this entire Nugget series in the new interface, portal.office.com, but there are still some things in the old interface that you might find interesting. And reports are one of those. I'm going to come right back here to Home. And here you see in the upper right, we still have a Go to the Old Admin Center button. So I'm going to click that, and this is going to launch the old interface, the legacy interface, as it were. And when I'm done working here, I can always tap or click here to go to the new interface. But one of the things I want to show you that's available here, if we scroll down to Reports, we're going to see a whole different collection of reports available. Now, this is more or less going to work the same. We're going to choose our report and then be able to configure it. But we've got some interesting usage reports here, like browser used. I want to know, well, what are people accessing the system with? Chrome, Edge, Internet Explorer, Firefox? I don't know. This would be a great report that I can get here. And it's going to be limited exclusively to the old admin portal. So I can't see this report in the new portal. They haven't migrated it over for whatever reason. So you want to make sure that you are aware of these reports that are in the old system, operating system used, browser used, and licensing versus active users. I think those are really, really good reports that you can only get here. And there's some other reports as well that you might be interested in. I'm going to scroll up and go back to the new admin center because, once again, most things that we need are found in this new admin center, and there's not a lot of reason to go into the old center. Mostly, I think, for those reports and for some of these product-specific admin centers are going to be in the old admin center as well. Another thing that you're going to want to take a look at here is underneath health reports. And health reports are all about the overall health of the Office 365 service. So I'm just going to select Service Health right here, and awesome. Well, not awesome if you're trying to use Exchange Online, but this is nice to know that, hey, you're getting an example of what happens when there is actually a problem. Maybe a user calls you up, you're working the help desk, and he says, I can't get to my Exchange Online, my Outlook Online service. You go, huh. You pop open the Service Health tab, and oh yeah, look at that. Microsoft is telling us that Exchange Online service is degraded. They are having problems currently with Exchange Online. And you can see all the different services down the left-hand side of this panel. The exclamation point on Exchange Online is telling us what the problem is. It's telling us the title, the user impact, and that they are working on restoring service. So I know that they are working on restoring service, and once it has been restored, this will turn from an exclamation point to a green check mark. If I jump back to the old legacy portal once again, the old admin center here, we also have Service Health found in this site. I'll pull this up and select Service Health here. And we're going to get a slightly different view. I really kind of like this view, which is why I'm bringing it up. Here you can actually see a history of service. So a lot of times users are going to call you up, and you're not going to get the message that they had a problem until the next day, or maybe 2 or 3 days later. Maybe you're at the top of the IT food chain, as it were, and you're just kind of taking an overall look at the problems that you've had over the past week. Well, here you can see where there have been issues in the past. So you can say, oh, you know what? Our users were complaining 3 days ago. Yeah, I can see that 3 days ago there was a problem. So you can see that kind of history here. Again, for all of the services, as we scroll down, we see all the different Office 365 services listed here. So we know what is working appropriately right now and what is not working appropriately right now. And we've also got this planned maintenance section here, so that if Office 365, if Microsoft is planning to bring down some services for maintenance for whatever reason, we can look them up right here and we can find out about it. Now, one last tool that you need to at least be aware of, even if you're not using it for the exam, and that is the Office or the Microsoft System Center Management Pack for Office 365. This can be downloaded right here at this URL. I've got it up on screen. And the System Center Management Pack requires specifically System Center Operations Manager. You see down here 2012 or the latest version 2016. And System Center Ops Manager is way outside the scope of this nugget in this nugget series, but you can check out our nugget series 70-246 to learn a lot more about how that utility is used to manage and monitor your private cloud. And with the System Center Management Pack for Office 365, it can be used to manage and monitor your public Office 365 cloud implementation as well. So really great utility, works with System Center Ops Manager, and it will help you keep an eye on things from an enterprise perspective that are going on with your Office 365 tenant. So that concludes this nugget on Reports and Service Health Monitoring in Office 365. Just to recap, Office 365 Dashboard offers a number of different reports and service health dashboards that you can use to troubleshoot and monitor what's going on with your Office 365 tenant. This is incredibly useful information whenever your users are reporting an issue or reporting a problem to you. It's kind of the first step, the first thing that you're going to do in order to find out if it's a problem that you need to address or if it's something that Microsoft needs to address on their side. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.